Map. Hey, welcome to the next episode of Fire Island Catch and Cook. It is November 4th and I'm heading back out to the east end of Long Island on the South Shore. And since our last video, I harvested a doe. Pretty cool solo hunt. I did not, for some reason, my GoPro was kind of screwed up. I tried to film that hunt, but something was going on. I didn't capture the footage. Either way, it was a complete solo mission from start to finish, inclusive of field dressing all on my own and butchering. I feel like that whole experience really was a rite of passage for me. All right, the rut's on and there's a lot of action going on. My brain is totally jumbled, so anybody who's been a whitetail hunter knows exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm just pretty new, I'm newer to this, so I'm trying not to pay too much attention to my cameras, but I got all these different spots and I don't know, which spot to go to. And then if I go to one spot, I see camera action at the other spot. So anyone out there that knows what I'm going through, is probably getting a good chuckle out of this. But at this point, I'm just gonna go pick a spot and stick to it. I've gone on a few hunts since that doe harvest hunt and saw some pretty cool stuff. Definitely saw the biggest buck I've ever seen in person. Was not within shooting range, so we'll see what happens today. I wouldn't, if I get a buck today, I'm tagged out, and I wouldn't mind that actually. And I also wouldn't mind continuing to hunt for the season. So I'm gonna get out there and we'll see what happens. Peace. Map. Holy shit. That happened so fast. I hope I got a good shot. All right, so I just got back to the truck and just changed to a little bit more comfortable clothing. I'm gonna go get some breakfast and I'm just gonna back out for a little while, let him expire, and then I'm gonna go back in there and see if I could recover him. So I'll check back in a little bit. Picked up a blood trail. Let's see how this goes. we got bubbles in his blood trail, which is a very good thing. There he is. Oh, wow. Wow. Look at that. Wow. Right. That's a double lung shot right there. Beautiful 8-pointer. Bigger than my other guy. That was a tough pursuit. It's been a rough few days of hunting. It's been a rough season. I've learned to field dress now, so I'm gonna do that. And I am super, super grateful for this deer. This is very, very cool. So I'm all tagged out now, and I've had an incredible season. So let's get to field dressing.
All right, so for more information on butchering, maybe more in detail on field dressing, the dry ager that I'm using for the venison, check out my previous video on the French rib, and I get into kind of granular detail of how to do all that stuff. So at this point right now, this venison has been dry aged for 2 weeks. Before we hop into the recipe, just a couple of quick seasonal updates. It's now early March, so fast forward from November, we're all the way through duck hunting season. Had a really productive and fun duck hunting season. I didn't do much filming. I've been super busy. The company I work for is growing at a really fast pace. So duck hunting for me was a little bit of a decompression after a very tense deer hunting season. What you don't see on video is all the hours that I'm putting in the woods. So once deer hunting season kind of came to a wrap, I needed a little bit of a break, and duck hunting is absolutely that. Got Sean into the duck hunting scene this year, which was awesome, and then Shane and I had a really productive few hunts. Anyway, so yeah, we're in early March now, and Felicia and I have been living off venison. I harvested 3 deer this year. Hey buddy, Jack wants a little piece of venison. And we have had so many different recipes, and I really found a ton of favorites. I haven't bought meat in quite a while, with the exception of a Christmas Eve brisket, which is how I got my fat for the Smashburgers that we're gonna make today. So I think last video, I was really excited to do something fancy, and that's one of Sean's favorite meals. So I think the French rib is a great crowd pleaser with probably one of the best cuts of meat. Today, we're gonna do the all-American Smashburger, and I'm gonna keep it really traditional with American cheese, sauteed onions, and bacon. I'm gonna talk about some of the tricks of the trade when it comes to making Smashburger. Anybody can make a Smashburger. So as with many different venison recipes, we're gonna be using beef fat in this particular recipe to make an 80-20 beef fat ground venison blend. And you can use a nice cut like this, sirloin, or you could just use your scrap pile. So when you're butchering, when you have those little tiny cuts, you can kind of keep them off to the side and use that. You kind of want to thaw it to the point where you can cut through the meat, but it's still somewhat frozen. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is just as far as temperature and making sure that everything is sanitary. And also, when you're using the meat grinder, if it's too warm, it gets kind of like gross in there. So you want it, just about frozen and in kind of pieces about this big. Now I measured this cut of venison beforehand, and it happened to be 0.8 pounds. So it made it very easy for me to figure out measuring an 80-20 blend. So it was just short of 0.8, and then I have 0.2 of beef fat. Once this is all cut up, then you're just going to take your meat grinder. There's a ton of different types of meat grinders you can get. The KitchenAid is awesome if you're not doing like commercial bulk. So like if you were gonna start making sausages and you were gonna take like 80 pounds of venison, the KitchenAid would probably start to smoke out, after a while, but this is the perfect amount to do it. I'm just gonna turn it up to a 3, and I'm gonna feed in the venison and beef fat, just kind of like every other piece. It's coming out pretty coarse. So what we do is we run it through the meat grinder twice so that it's blended properly. All right, so I can hear that the grinder kind of did its work, so everything is through there. And we have a not very well blended, exactly 1 pound of meat. And if you feel that the meat is becoming close to room temperature, I would recommend throwing it in the freezer for a little bit just to cool it down. You don't want it rock hard, but this is still pretty cold. So I'm gonna take, just almost like little mini meatballs. I'm just gonna shove it in. Now you can see this is coming out looking pretty much just like ground meat that you would buy in the grocery store. Now that it's all done, I'm gonna take the ground meat and I'm just gonna throw it in the fridge just to kind of firm it up a little bit. I'm going to take our onion. So our ground meat is now just a lot colder. It's not frozen. This is where some of our Smashburger purists are gonna come out, and I'm gonna agree with whatever point you're gonna make about this. So there's a couple of ways to do Smashburgers. All of the ways you're gonna take your ground meat and you're gonna make little meatballs out of them. So where this way is gonna differ between a Smashburger purist is, and I agree with this, you're gonna take the meatball, you're gonna throw it on the flat top, you're gonna put a little salt and pepper on there, and you're gonna smash it down with like a burger weight or something like that. For me, I do that way. If I have a barbecue and I got a lot of people coming over, I'll create like a bunch of these meatballs and I'll do Smashburgers like that all day. I think it's a little cleaner to kind of pre-smash them, and there's also a cooking advantage to doing this. So if you take 2 pieces of parchment, you throw your burger on there, pre-smash it. Now what I do is I take this burger patty and I throw it in the freezer, not till it's completely frozen, but because it's such a thin burger, it's going to cook very fast, and I want to create a really nice Smashburger crust on here. So where I'm going slightly less traditional in the way to cook it, I'm gonna get a better crust and a better all-around cook than just smashing it right on the flat top. But if you wanna do that, have at it. All right, I got all my Smashburgers pre-flattened. I'm going to throw them back in the freezer so they get close to frozen while I prep everything back out on the flat top. So I'll see you outside. So this is like the first 60-degree day that we've had out here, which is great for early March. And boat is gonna be splashing down in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm really excited about that. All right, couple things on the flat top that I want to talk about. If you're using a griddle or a flat top, it's all about understanding your temperature, where your hot side of the grill is and your less hot side of the grill. Because we're making Smashburgers, there's a couple things I like to do that are temperature specific, which is when I first throw my grill on, I'm gonna put the bacon on the griddle so that it does not flash fry too hot and then burn by the time I want to put my actual burgers on. So when you're using a griddle, for me at least, if you're gonna be a good griddle cook, you need to time out everything, all the proteins, everything you're gonna cook, so that it all comes together at the same time and you're not letting any part of the meal either overcook or get cold or whatever it is. So I find that specifically with bacon, I like to treat bacon like a steak and make sure that it's cooked to perfection, nice and crispy. And by doing that, I just found that whether you're using a griddle or a cast iron skillet, getting that bacon on before it gets too hot is going to keep the bacon flat. Whereas if you kind of flash fry it, not only are you going to overcook it, but it's going to start to curl up on the edges. So once that bacon gets going, we are going to take the onions and use some of the bacon grease to get some oil on there to start sauteing. Every time you need more oil for the onions, you're just going to slide your bacon around and move the onions right into the oil. Now this bacon is starting to cook pretty good, so I'm going to move it off to the side of the skillet so it's continuing to cook, but I'm not overcooking it. Take a piece of bacon that's not fully cooked, like this one here, and kind of use it as padding to put all the other things on top. Once these onions are looking dark, but not completely done being sauteed yet, we're just gonna kind of slide them over to the side of the grill. I mean, this stuff is just looking golden, perfect and golden. I cut it in half because you're also, by cutting it in half, you're mitigating some of that bacon curl that everybody gets, and who wants a piece of bacon that's not cooked perfectly all the way through? I got all my burgers, I'm gonna lay them out. Malden flake salt, fresh pepper. All right, so when you put your burgers on, you want to have a dry surface, because what's going to happen is to get that crust on your smash burger, you're going to need some of the oil from the fat. So I don't like a super wet bacon greased griddle. Otherwise, you're gonna lose some of that crust that you're gonna build on there. So got some sesame seed buns. Brioche are also really good. They'll carry gold underneath. When the burgers start really bleeding, that's when you know to flip them over. And we're kind of getting to that point. And you can see that beautiful crust right on there. All right, so we're gonna do 1 slice of cheese for the bottom, 2 on the top, and we're gonna let these sit. I don't put my bacon underneath my cheese or saute the onions, because the cheese ends up hydrating the bacon, and then it's not a super crispy bacon. Now I'm gonna move and construct the entire burger. Final little melt here. I'm gonna take this grated rack just to get all the grease out of the burger. Boom. All right, so we got our favorite taste tester, Felicia, here. Cheers.
Cheers.
We're gonna take our industrial size FICC sauce. You want some?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Burger cheese.
This is a juicy ass burger.
So tasty.
Damn, that's good. Crispy bacon, quality meat.
a really good, tasty burger.
Tastes like a killer smash burger. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, whatever you want. Shout out to Mark and Greg from Friend of a Barber. I was just in there in the Lower East Side getting a haircut, and I was feeling overwhelmed just from work and everything else, and I was considering just closing the channel down for a little bit until I had some more free time to make videos. And Mark had some really just kind of brought up how much he likes the channel and his buddies watch it and all that stuff. So we're a pretty small community of people. I'm not looking to have a huge following or channel or anything like that, but yeah, I ended up getting motivated after a little vacation to Barbados to finish editing all these videos. So you like it? Shout out to anybody who you know, who I bump into around town or whatever that's into these videos. And I know some people got into hunting through them and fishing and all that kind of stuff, so that's super cool. Other than that, like I said, boats splashing down soon. I do a lot of fishing off camera, but I do like doing it on camera too, so there'll definitely be some content coming up this summer. Make this. This is low effort, high reward here.
Make it for your wife.
Let's
She'll
go.
love it.
Make it for your wife. Peace out, everybody.